Welcome to the Black to Business Podcast, an educational podcast providing Black entrepreneurs with the tools and resources to start and grow their businesses. I am your host, Monique T. Marshall. So I don't know if you've dealt with this in your business, but I certainly have. Have you ever felt like you had this awesome audience or customer base and you wanted to make sure you were doing everything right, such as engaging with them? So you have all of these great ideas and you try to do it all, which is a huge mistake. So how do we effectively engage with our customers, both online and offline, but be realistic with what we're able to do ourselves? Well, on this week's Chief Chat, I've invited the perfect ladies to share with us how we can engage with our customers, both online and offline, through digital marketing and events. Tiffany and Tasha, the co-founders of Benchmark Creative Group, which is a digital event marketing-based agency in Brooklyn, New York. BCG creates marketing campaigns for events and provides marketing workshops for organizations, as well as one-on-one branding sessions. So during this episode, we got to discuss the different elements of customer engagement and how it's important to be realistic with your time and abilities, and as a leader, the power in delegating as well as the power of partnerships. You're definitely in for a treat with this episode, so let's get into it. Tiffany and Tasha, thank you guys so much for joining me and the Black to Business podcast on today. I'm so excited to have you both here.
Yay! We are excited to be here.
Yes. First podcast of the year.
Right?
Go us, go Black to Business, go you. We're excited. If you both could, I want to tell the listeners who don't yet know about you, the both of you, and Benchmark Creative Group. Just share a little bit about your story, how you got to where you are today, and your two founders. So, how did you all meet, and what is it that you do in your business?
Sure. So I'm Tiffany Ashitey. I'm the one that has a little more bass in their voice. And so I'm one of the co-founders of Benchmark Creative Group. We basically both met in undergrad at Temple University. We're both originally from Brooklyn. Brooklyn represents.
BK.
And we've known each other now for we're not going to date ourselves, but we've known each other for a long time. And our business has been around for just under 4 years. We run a digital marketing and events agency. And it basically started back in 2014 when I was in grad school and Tasha had just come back from LA. And we were both at a point in our lives where we had freelanced, we'd worked corporate, we'd done so many things, but we were tired, to be honest. We were tired. We were just tired. And we realized, well, people are asking us to do this on our own, then why not form a company and do it for ourselves? And that's pretty much, we were like, okay, well, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? The worst thing that happens is it doesn't work out. And then we go back and get a corporate job and we keep it pushing. And here we are almost 4 years later, still standing.
Amazing. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Much of our audience are probably just starting out or, trying to figure out when to make that transition. So I'm excited to see, what advice you guys are going to give them. And I'm glad that you were able to share that story because I know it's relatable for a lot of people. Definitely. So, which brings to the next point. I'm so excited about today's topic because I need the help in my business. I know many people need the help in their businesses, and you ladies are killing it in the game. So today we're going to talk about engaging your customers on and offline through digital marketing and events, which is what you guys specialize in. So let's get started. Let's first talk about the different elements of customer engagement. For you, why does it matter for businesses? And what are some of the things that you see business owners should be paying attention to when it comes to engaging with their customers?
Sure. So this is Tasha. I'm the co-founder of Benchmark Creative Group, and I was the one that she was referring to earlier. And to answer your question, we see a lot of customers trying to engage, mainly in person. Some do it through, a phone call or just really quickly after a purchase is made. Some do it online through social media where they are replying to tweets or shouting them out with a testimony, like a customer sent a testimony and then they'll retweet it or post it, et cetera, screenshot. And then there's surveys, right? But not everyone fills out the surveys that you send or read the newsletter. But those are some of the ways we see people trying to engage with their customers. Some of them work, some of them don't.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a relationship. And so a lot of times we tell people, as a business, you're creating a relationship with your customer. If you wanted to meet somebody, if you wanted to, get a date or get a potential client or meet a friend, it's a relationship. People don't just become friends overnight, right? You just don't have a boyfriend overnight. You just don't have a client overnight. All of it takes time. And so that's why engagement is so important. And so when Tasha was saying some of them work, some of them don't, a lot of times people will do it in silos. So they'll say, well, I posted on Instagram. I don't understand what happened. Or I sent them an email and I don't understand what happened. Yeah. How many times have someone emailed you once and you didn't get to it for, however many days and you didn't take action? So it's just understanding that everything in life is a relationship.
Okay.
Yes, you need to foster said relationship. It can't just be a one-off, So what we like to tell our clients is, and that's when we're either providing the service for them or we are training their staff to do the service. So it can go either way. We'll tell them, there need to be multiple emails. So you have your introductory email or a thank you email, and then you need to keep following up. Same thing when you're posting, you need to do more than one reminder on whatever platform your customer is on, not the platform that you feel most comfortable on.
Definitely. And I like how you related it to a relationship, because I do feel like, I was just reading something today about, maintaining and then building that trust with your audience. Sometimes when, we're engaging with customers, like you mentioned, the post and the tweeting, we feel like we're sending the emails. If we're doing that and more business owners are doing that, and they aren't seeing the results, like what are some ways that they can test and make sure that this is the method that works for them to reach that person that they are trying to reach?
So the first thing we always ask is, how consistent are you? So a lot of times when people will say, oh, I'm doing it and it's not working, we always say, okay, well, what's your frequency and what's your consistency? Because sometimes it's not the platform, it's the timing and it's the frequency. So if you're trying to get people's attention on, say, Instagram or Snapchat, but you're only engaging or posting like ever so often, and in the world of Instagram, every other day, 3 times a week is ever so often. That's not frequent. You see it, you scroll, you have people posting several times a day. If you're trying to get people's attention, then you need to level up to that. You need to not level up, but you need to, it sounded so harsh.
Sometimes you need that.
You need to step your game up. No, but you do need to see what the benchmark is and meet that, because that is what your audience is looking at. And if they're not seeing you, then you are not going to get the results that you want because they're not seeing you. So that would be the first thing. And then as far as testing, we would say, do your research and figure out where else they are. Nowadays, there used to be a rule of thumb where it would take 7 touches or 7 impressions just to get a customer's awareness. Now it's up to 12, and who knows, it may go up to 20, which means that they have to see something 12 times before they even recognize what it is. If you think about all the ads you see from the minute you open your phone, the minute you open your laptop, the minute you step out of your house, on the train, on the bus, on a cab, everywhere, there's so many messages that you have to be in multiple places. So it's important to research and see where your customers are and be there constantly. And if you're going to test, don't just test the platform, but test the content. So look at who's killing it. Look at who's doing it and doing it well and getting the results that you want, and test your methods against that. So
definitely. I like how you put in benchmark your results. I like how you played into that.
Yes, pun intended.
That was good. So ladies, like the Benchmark Creative Group offers services such as brand therapy, social media management, event management, and project management. So at what point, say I'm a business owner, I know that you mentioned you'll assess the business when they first come to you. So at what point, you're talking about social media, when it comes to events, like do you feel like for those who have that focus of just event planning, do you feel like they should start on social media and then go to events, or how do they step out the gate with producing great events? Because you all are killing it.
Thank you. Well, clients will come to us specifically sometimes for an event. So it may be a private dinner, a pop-up shop, etc. So where social media plays in is depending on what type of event it is. So say, for instance, it's a private dinner. You don't necessarily need the social media to get an audience going. You're inviting certain people, and you may put it on social media after the private dinner or intimate event is over. So then now you have this curiosity, this FOMO. I wasn't invited. How I get invited next time, etc. When it's, for instance, a pop-up shop or conference, you definitely want to get a buzz going. And that's when we talk about event marketing, right? We can help you plan the event. We can come in just to do the logistics, but we definitely want people to attend your event. So that's where the event marketing comes in. And that can look anything from like event content specific, and then there's ad campaigns. So where you're posting ads on, say, Instagram, Google ads, Facebook ads, etc., so that people are now, one, aware that you're having this event, and then two, are now interested in checking out your website, learning more about your company, and wanting to purchase said event. So when you're fairly new, I think that's where everyone needs to add, but definitely if you're fairly unheard of and you're trying to introduce yourself to the world, yes, event marketing is crucial.
And then just a quick example for when we started branching out in events, one thing that really worked well for us was partnerships. And so we would partner with people who, maybe had the community, but they didn't necessarily want to or weren't necessarily great at the execution. And so in being able to partner up and co-produce really good events, people started to become aware of, just the level of event and the level of the brand, so that when you start to do bigger and better, people are already aware of what you do. So look at your community and look at your network and see who you can partner up with and what you can add value to be able to maybe co-produce an event before just branching out on your own, because it's definitely an undertaking.
That's a good point. Good advice.
It's a lot of work.
It's not easy, which is what we want people to know. And you talked about, how you all started. So when it comes to business owners that are doing it right, when you all started Benchmark Creative Group, what were some of the things and companies that you looked at to help you get started? And who are some people that you feel like are doing it right when it comes to increasing their engagement now?
So when we started, we had really high ambitions.
Tell us more.
So one thing I always tell people is if you want to start an agency, which is a whole separate conversation, if you want to start an agency, be real with yourself. Really be real about the time that you're wanting to put into it, because, when people come from agency backgrounds, sometimes they forget that when you run an agency, it's like you're a doctor. It's like on call 24/7 and tending to the needs of clients. Sometimes it's last minute. Sometimes, things go wrong and you still have to fix them. You are their brand doctor. And so just be aware, especially when you have a lean team. When Tasha and I started out, it was just us two. And then over time, we started recruiting freelancers and, recruiting people on a project basis and finding people that we were comfortable with to be able to, branch out and delegate responsibility to. But when you're starting out on your own,
you need to know how to do everything. So then when you do get the staff, you can teach them how you want it done.
Absolutely.
And when they're not, doing their job correctly or trying to pull a fast one on you because you've done it before and you have this level of expectation and now you can tell them or you know what to expect.
Yeah. So we were looking at the major agencies that were doing really cool things. So we were looking at MKG is like an experiential agency, and we were looking at things that like Translation would do. We were looking at all the really cool stuff that the bigger agencies were doing and trying to figure out, okay, how could we do this for like 1/25 of the budget?
Talk about the startup. Talk about the startup.
Right. So, and then reality set in, and then we reshifted. But so I think that I would say, like, when you're looking at aspirational companies that you want to be like, just bring it a little more down to earth, because we didn't necessarily do that coming out the gate.
And do you feel like there were times when you talk about having the bigger vision that you realized you had to start in steps, and what was that like?
Oh,
I feel it.
That's, darling, that's the beauty of having a partner. I know people necessarily don't get along and people have like ego trips and stuff, but that's where we work well together. We are yin and yang. When she is shooting for the stars, I'm like, hey, come on down here to earth. We're going to take this one step at a time. Let's build the ship first. And then get the rocket fuel.
Yes.
And we going to reach the stars. Then let's get this trajectory. How far do we need to go to get there? So I think I definitely help out with that. But then I think when you're a solo entrepreneur, it's kind of hard because you're on your own. You're in this silo. It's good to have maybe an accountability partner, a mentor, maybe other colleagues that you trust and can share your goals with, that you can bounce ideas off of. I think that's very helpful in you being realistic.
And then one quick thing to that, just don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. So like knowing what your weaknesses are is so important. And the sooner you recognize that, the sooner you can find people to fill the gaps. So like Tasha was saying, we work really well with each other because we know what we're really good at and what we're not so good at. And we address it, and between the two of us, we fill in the gaps for each other, and where neither of us fill the gaps, we try to find people who do. So just be very self-aware as fast as you can. Definitely.
And I know, you talked about being self-aware and all of those things. And what was a moment where you felt like you were really being tested, and how did you overcome it? Like, dealing with a client or dealing with a new idea, producing something. What was that like?
So there's a couple of instances. So one that comes to mind is one was client relations. So going back to when you're a service-based business, it's not like you're just selling a tangible product and it gets mailed and then they get it and they keep it pushing. A lot of it is based in emotion. And so we had one client where, it happens. Something may go wrong, or their expectation was not, they weren't satisfied with a result. So we do whatever we can to just find the solution and fix it really quickly. Sometimes that means that you have to eat crap. And we had this one client that just the way that they addressed us was just in a very, what's a nice way of putting it?
Derogatory? that was a nice, sorry. Demeaning? No.
Straight.
Yeah.
All of that.
All of those
words in a way. And so we really had to do a couple of things, right? Less than flattering. So we had to do whatever we could to change that perception around and find a solution for the client. But it did allow us to kind of do some like self-seeking and figure out, okay, where did we go wrong as a company? Because you never want anyone to feel dissatisfied with the work that you're doing. And so you have to ask yourself why. And it was at that point that we realized that we were trying to scale a little faster than we had the capacity to do so. And we were trying to do it all. That was before we started bringing on other people. So between the two of us, we had other clients. This client in particular had like multiple brands that we were managing. And it was all between the two of us just trying to do it. So we really had to ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? And, you know, fix it for them, but say no to things and say no to clients that maybe look like that right then and there because we knew we couldn't do it.
In addition to that, with us being service-based and it not being a tangible product, people have to respect your value. Not everyone sees your value. And I mean, whether it's cost, whether you're a female of color, they need to see the value in what you're doing. And once they don't see that, it's not going to be good business. That's one. To manage expectations.
Yeah.
You know, you may have a discussion or the client may have something in their head of what they're looking for. And then you, on the other hand, know this is what you can deliver. If those two things aren't seeing eye to eye, you're definitely going to have some issues that need to be resolved ASAP. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good testimony that they're going to provide. You're not going to have any good referrals. You may not be on speaking terms with said client. So we definitely want to clear up expectations from the beginning, like over communicate as possible. That is one advice I would say to any entrepreneur working with their client: over communicate, so that there are no misunderstandings on anyone's part.
Definitely. I like that. And I think, you know, the good thing about today's topic is, you know, engaging your customers. And it's also important to find out who your customers are. So when you talk about managing expectations, you guys went through periods where you were able to see the things that could work and couldn't work. And also probably in the midst of that, see, you know, who your clients were. Were there any moments, or how did you find out who your target audience was? I love it. You guys have like this laugh, like it's like, oh, I'm going to give it to you.
No, we're holding back, actually.
Oh, wow.
So it's evolved. I think that's the first thing we can say. It has evolved. When we first started out, we were exclusively working in hospitality.
Yes, yeah. But I think when you're new to entrepreneurship, and I would say in our experience, we were excited, right? So we didn't necessarily, I think we thought we knew who our clients were, and then we were just excited. So anyone who was referred to us or who wanted to work with us, we're like, yes,
absolutely.
We'll take it. Sure. Whatever. I don't care. We'll figure it out. We'll do whatever you need us to do, right? Just to have a client in the beginning. And then through that process, I wouldn't say it was bad, but I said through that process, you get to know what you like, what you don't like. So we went through it. We worked with a lot of hospitality clients and realized, maybe not. Or it's a different type of hospitality, you know, because hospitality is a big umbrella. So it can be an actual restaurant. It can be food truck. It can be just a chef that we're managing. So it depends on the type of client. So sometimes you need to go through it to know what works for you and what doesn't. And then some just know off the bat. So as Tiffany started to mention, we went through that, and then now we're in a different place. We're no longer using those or seeking those same clients anymore.
And I would also say it's twofold, because you also have to understand, like, you may have who you think is your ideal client, but if that ideal client isn't getting you to the goals that you have for your business, then it's time to find another. So Tasha was talking
to them.
Yeah. Or figure out what can you create to actually appeal to this client to get them to the goals. Like Tasha was talking about, knowing your value, and certain industries just may not value what you do at a premium price. So how are you going to get to six figures if this client doesn't value what you do at a premium price? So social media for us was one of those things that certain industries figured, oh, I can just have my intern do it. And then their intern would do it and they would be dissatisfied and they'd be ready to hire us. And that was the growing pains that they would have to go through. But off the bat, they didn't want to pay what we needed and what an agency standardly charges to get it done, because we know what we're doing. And no offense, it's harder for an intern to speak for a brand. So just know what your business goals are and make sure that the audience matches up to it.
Definitely. And speaking of knowing what you're doing, and, whole thing is about, increasing engagement, digital marketing and events. So say a company is hiring you, or, for those who are listening, what are some ways that they can actually take action and increase, like if they want to do digital marketing, like how are some ways that they can increase and engaging their audience and building that audience through either events or through digital marketing? And what are some ways that you've turned around, if someone had an intern, you've actually gone in and created that turnaround?
I'll speak to events. I think one way that entrepreneurs can turn things around is, I know it's cliche, networking, but that definitely can lead to different avenues, right? So you're at an event or you see that an event is happening, contact the producer of the event. Hey, how can I be involved? That goes back to Tiffany saying partnerships, right? So you didn't necessarily have to do all the legwork of managing said event, but now if they still need some assistance, you can find a way where your company can now play a role in said event, whether you're talking, whether you're vending, find a way that you would benefit and as well as benefit the event that's happening. So I would say try to be, if you can't be proactive, knowing what events are coming up. Right. If you see an event that's happening, try and contact whoever's producing the event so that you can be a part of it. If you're not in a position yet to create your own event, to get the word out about what your company is doing.
And then from the digital marketing aspect, I would just say, think about everything you do in your business as an event. So let's say you're running an e-commerce company, right? And you're having a, Black Friday sale. That is an event. Right? Because it's leading up to something where there's a peak, where you expect a lot of customers, and then you need to do pre and post promotion and follow up. So build out a campaign around every quote unquote event that is happening in your business. So if you're an influencer or a thought leader and you have a couple of major speaking engagements coming up, use those. I'm going to benchmark those as events. So benchmark those as events and figure out how you can build the momentum before, during, and after that. Because a lot of growth happens when there's something to look forward to. So if you run an e-commerce company, there's peaks throughout the year where you're going to put things on sale. You're going to do specific promotions. Those are events. Figure out what the before, during, and after is. So.
There's a lot of growth what happens when there's something to look forward to. I love it. Noting. So, also the fact that, you all specialize in these things. And at what point do you feel like a person should hire out these tasks in their business, or know that they can hire someone internally or freelance someone, or contract rather?
There's several moments.
Yeah.
If you're pulling your hair out, that's probably, it's a good time that you should ask for help. I say from the beginning, definitely delegate. It goes back to Tiffany's talking about knowing your weaknesses and knowing your strengths. Right. So if you're resourceful, that's great. But if you are resourceful, use that. and I don't mean use people, but what I'm saying is maybe it's time you cash in on some of those favors, right? Maybe you're bartering with people so that you can help get this event off on the right foot. So I would not tell anyone to try and do everything themselves. That is stressful because you're still running a business, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you started out doing, running a business. Now, this event is an addition to enhance the business. So the business still needs to keep running while this event is happening. So you don't want to lose sight or focus of the main goal. So if you can outsource it or have someone, again, partner with you to help this come about, I say definitely do it from the beginning. Don't wait to the last minute, because then you're going to have a, what's my favorite? Shit show.
Yes. And
that's the event.
Exactly.
The shit show is the event.
Promoting the shit show. So one thing I would throw in is that a lot of times people get wrapped up in what they're able to do versus what they have time to do. And just because you have the skill to do it doesn't necessarily mean you have the time to do it. So like in my case, for example, I write, I do design, but I don't want to do both because there's too many other things to do. So we will hire a designer or we will hire a writer, but then we can edit. We can definitely, like Tasha said, we know what we want. We have that visual eye, so we can edit and get it done faster versus me sitting down and having to do it, because then that takes away time from the other 20 things that's needed to run the business. So just be realistic. A lot of times people want to keep everything to themselves. Just because you're delegating it out doesn't mean it's not yours anymore. You send your child to school for 8 hours a day. That doesn't mean you can't teach your child. It just means that someone else is doing it so you can do other things. So.
You just preached.
We will be passing around the plates at the end of this service.
We want the stuff that folds, not the stuff that jingles.
Amen.
Love it. I love it, and I think that's an important point, especially in entrepreneurship. It's about, time is money and we can't do everything. You mentioned a great point about taking away that time for your business while you're trying to do everything else. And potentially you could be missing out on money that you could be making. So yes, that is. So say I am a person, I'm a business owner who's coming to Benchmark and I am saying, I'm having trouble. I feel like I have this great content, but nobody is responding on social media. I've been to Canva. I've made all the cute graphics. I feel like I have some great quotes under. How can you help me?
So the first thing we would ask you is, what's your goal? What's the end goal? Because people always say, oh, I want to go viral. And we're like, that's great. How does that translate to money? So, and then sometimes they get quiet and they're like, but I really want to go viral. And we're like, that's great. How does that put money in your bank account? So if you're not getting the results that you want on social, if we go back to the business goals and we say, okay, well, let's look at those and see if they align. Then we ask, well, what are you offering, right? What is the value of what you're offering? Because a lot of times people will put their product or put their business out there and then no one's biting, but they don't know why. And it's not because it's not pretty. It's not because they didn't see it. Sometimes it's because the price is too high, or, they're not fully sold, or they don't fully believe in what you're doing. So the first that we do is dissect all of that to make sure that all those things line up. And then from there, we can go back and visit the content and see, all right, now that all those other things, the pricing, the trustworthiness, the value, all of those line up, now let's see how we can get the content to match. And then from there, we'll say, what is your budget? Because it's time to put your money where your mouth is.
So do you all have any favorite tools that you're using right now or that you used in the beginning, that helped you with your business in terms of tracking and making sure people, are engaging and you're targeting the right people?
Are you referring to just social only or just in general, like business and social? Okay, sure. Asana for project management, Canva for graphics. That's when we're not outsourcing and just doing it ourselves. Later, we've used Later before, which is now Lately.
No, it's Later Graham, which is now Later.
Oh, okay, so Later Graham, now known as Later.
I love Planoly. Planoly is, oh my gosh, Planoly is my jam.
What is Planoly actually? I heard of it, but what is it? Why should I do
Planoly is a Instagram planning tool. So it allows you to schedule just like everything else. However, the best part about it is allows you to lay out in advance your Instagram feed. So you can literally just drop in photos, because part of what makes Instagram appealing is it's the post, but it's also the overall look. If you go to some of these different pages, you'll see that like, wow, they really have a flow and a theme to their profile. Planoly helps you do that, and it helps you to just drop in, plug and play, and test out your layout. It allows you to schedule. It allows you to discover just popular photos, popular hashtags, and then allows you to save your hashtags. So we literally have different hashtag groups saved so that we can just write the post, click plus, and add whatever hashtag group we want. So I heart Planoly. It is the best.
Gotta check it out.
Let's definitely do that. Evernote.
Yes, Evernote is everything.
Ripple. Hootsuite.
Oh yes, love Hootsuite. No, that's good. You guys are schooling us. These are the experts for a reason. Definitely. That's good. I'm going to definitely link in the show notes all of these amazing resources, all of the great quotes. Drop mics.
There's one, we're just playing with it. So everybody's always looking for like really good stock photos. And we know that right now, like everyone is going to, what's the one that everyone?
Is it the colored stock? The one for people of color?
Well, people use that one, but no, I'm talking about another one. There's another one out called like 2020, and like for like a not nominal, it's like maybe like $30 a month, but you can download like really, really good stock photos that people haven't used before. And I know after a while, everyone starts to discover a stock photo source, and you start to see the same photos every single where. So I believe it's called 2020. And we can always follow up with you with the link.
Thank you, ladies. And guys, just so you know, they actually like planned out. We wanted this to be like, making sure we're giving all the resources. So we actually planned out what resources we were going to give and how you were actually going to be benefited from this episode. So ladies, they put in work just to provide for you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
They do. So speaking of working hard, you've had this amazing business. I've had the opportunity to partner on one of the events. We were able to send a couple of guests to Brooklyn Marketing Week. And I found out that you all do this full time. What was that like for you all?
Jesus.
Tasha about to get on a mic and preach.
Oh, it's a lot of prayer. We did do part-time in the beginning, and then we just made that leap. Or like, I can't be at this desk anymore kind of thing. We really enjoyed the freedom of making our schedules and, having meetings with clients. So, we're like, we got to go all in if we really want this to work, right? And that's our situation. It doesn't necessarily work for everyone. I would definitely say make sure you have your stash, secure the bag for at least a year.
Wow, a year.
So that you have, you're afloat. You know what I mean? It's a different type of lifestyle as an entrepreneur as opposed to just working a 9 to 5. So yes, I'm not saying 6-month emergency fund. I'm saying secure the bag for a year. There's ups and downs to your business, and you're still figuring things out, especially in the first year. And some businesses don't even last till 5 years. So definitely want to be as prepared as you can be, right? So yes, we are full time for a while now, and it's again had its ups and downs. You're constantly looking for new clients, right? You want to keep that cash flow coming, and then also just you want your business to grow, your brand to grow. So you definitely need to be also hitting the pavement, development, sales, so that it continues to grow. But then you also have freelancers, staff to continue to run the business.
And I would also say for those that are like just leaping out, start the business while you're working for somebody else. Like, there's nothing wrong with making more money. So if you've got your 9 to 5 and that's paying you, this is the time to test out that idea. This is the time to test out that concept, right? Because if it doesn't go the way you want, you still have a check. You still keep a roof over your head. And then when you finally do branch out, start to figure out how you're going to create multiple revenue sources. Because especially as a service-based industry, like you said, you're always looking for clients, and you never want your client roster to dry up. And then next thing you know, you don't know where your check is coming from. If you have multiple revenue sources, if you're, speaking, or if you're creating classes, or, whatever the other streams are, then there's always money, especially passive money coming in. So.
And what are some things, or what is the thing that you wish, now that you wish someone would have told you before?
The one thing? Only one?
1, 2, 3.
It's okay to say no. That's probably the most important. Yeah. It's okay to say no. Like from jump. Because a lot of times you say yes to things, and then you end up digging a ditch for yourself. And that's how you end up stressed and overworked and not sleeping for 2 days, trying to just get it done. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
Those are my 2.
What she said.
And to end on a good note, like, what are some things that
like, we gotta uplift this a little bit.
Yeah, we kind of got, it's not easy.
It got heavy in here. It got heavy.
I felt it, so we gotta lift it back up.
There are good moments, when a check clears is an excellent moment. When they sign the contract and it's a first time working with a client. Also good times, they're definitely at the end of an event, at the end of a successful event.
Yeah.
So good. That euphoria, the sleep that you're about to have, my God. There are definitely good moments, yes. And then just waking up in the morning knowing that you answer to yourself.
You answer to yourself.
Well, Tiffany and I answer to each other, but yes, girl, get up. What you doing?
Yeah.
Let's make this money.
Exactly.
Love it. And I think that's the great thing about, the both of you spirit is I remember attending an event and Tasha said, we're going to go rest. And I was like, I stopped her. I said, I'm not even mad because it was an amazing event. And I'm like, I know it's not easy because it was amazing. Like Brooklyn Marketing Week, if you haven't had the chance to attend, you need to. It was great, informative. So yes.
Thank you. We started planning this year already. So be on the lookout.
Date yet?
It's definitely going to be in October.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're still working on the weekend, but it will be in October. So some save the dates will be coming out. And of course, we'll look out for the Black to Business community with some tics. Yeah. But also, self-care. A lot of people don't think about self-care. So yes, I talk about sleep a lot because that is self-care to me, getting sleep. Because then if you're not fully rejuvenated, you can't be your best for your business or best for your client.
Definitely. And even if you could just touch on, the day in the life, and what are some days or some ways that you wind down and make sure, you reset properly?
Tasha just came from yoga earlier today.
Yes, I need it. I am not my best self without sleep, water, or yoga.
Okay. So that's a good one. You have any?
I would say sleep and water and food. I love, like, food makes me happy. Food is love. And so I sometimes, if I'm in a bad mood or if I'm in a good mood, I treat myself with really good food. And so that's my upper. That picks me up. We're going to work on this workout thing. So we can circle back in like 90 days and I'll let you know how that goes for me.
Progress.
Exactly. I'm a work in progress.
Yes.
So, but sleep, water, and food, that works for me. But yeah.
I love it. And it's kind of leading into our last, our round of 5 questions. I asked a kind of off the wall questions, but the first question I want to ask is, what advice would each of you give your 23-year-old self?
So it may sound a little cheesy, but know you're worth it.
Okay.
When I was 23, I felt like, when you're coming out of college, it's like, first there's the euphoria and then there's the reality check. So you come out of college, you're like, I got my degree. What? You can't tell me nothing. And then the world like just shuts you down real fast. And they're like, oh, that's cute. You tried it. But then your ego gets so deflated. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What's the meaning of life? What's my purpose? So just there. Exactly. And so I would just tell my 23-year-old self, like, know that you're capable and you don't have to prove that to anybody.
Yes. Tasha?
Well, I would say the first thing that comes to mind is dream bigger. Yeah, I know when you're younger, you think you're invincible, but you also think you have a lot of time. Right. So my younger self would probably be like, later on. You know what I mean? I have time to do these things. When I was younger, it's probably the best time to do that because then I could fail fast, figure it out and move on. Right. Where, if I'm thinking about things now, it's like, oh, I'm older. Okay, let's take more calculated steps. And I don't know if you can make that big risk right now. So yeah, I would say I would tell my younger self, dream bigger. I was definitely just like in the moment, but I think I should have dreamed bigger, tried or taken more risk.
Can I remix that question really quickly?
Oh my gosh.
Don't kill me. So I wanted to also ask, and maybe we could all participate. So we went back in time. What would we tell our 23-year-old self? What would we tell our 40-year-old self? Or our 40, let's say 40. Our
future self?
Our future self. Like, what do you want to tell your future self?
Oh, that's good. I love it. I'll be honest, and I know people are listening, but it's between me and you guys.
Just the 3 of us, girl. Just the 3 of us. Right on.
But I've lately, meeting amazing people like you all, and how you said dream bigger and all of these things. I feel like, people say 2018 is my year. My new year started months before 2018, but I just had this feeling of like all of those things came into my head, and it's like, you're the best thing that, the creator made. Like, you're one of the best things that the creator made. So in that, you can do whatever you set your mind to, and the only one is stopping you. Now, that doesn't take away from anybody else's light. It's just your light right now, like your light on you. So Absolutely. I feel like that's what my 40-year-old self says. It's like, you were able to walk in that from now until 40 or until beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
See, and what would you say, T?
Don't worry. No worries. You got this. Yeah. There's really nothing you can't do. So don't worry. And even if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But you're good.
Yeah. It's good.
I would just say you still have time. I think a lot of times people think, oh, I'm over 30, I'm over 40, I'm over 50. I can't do whatever I want to do. You're still breathing. So as long as you got breath in your lungs, what's it going to kill you to try? Just do it. So.
Just do it. Which brings me to...
Oh, yes, your question.
Sorry.
So what's that song that just gets you going? Like you feel like you can do anything when you're down? Like what's that song? That guilty pleasure maybe?
Song? Oh my gosh.
You listen to music?
Yeah, but see, I'm on Pandora, and so I have my channels, right? So when I feel like the pressure's on and somebody trying to come for me, and I be like, oh, you trying to steal my joy? Then I need my Kirk Franklin station, right? Because he gonna talk me off the ledge, so I don't curse nobody out. So I need my Kirk Franklin station. But then you in that good mood, like I'm unstoppable. Mm-hmm. You need that arrogance of Jay or Kanye. So that's my go-to. You know what I mean? Because you know you're gonna kill it. Today's the day. So then I need the Jay and I need the Kanye.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know Kirk Franklin is like the DJ Khaled of gospel, I feel like.
Yes!
Seriously.
He really is.
He's the originator. You know, Diddy did it for hip hop. He did it for gospel.
He really did. He's like, I'll bring the singers together and I'm just going to ad lib on it. Yes. Are you with me? Oh, yeah. Like, oh, okay. All right.
I never see ad libs.
We're doing that. Yes, Kirk. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, Tiffany, what's your guilty pleasure or your gets you going song?
So it's a couple. So one is like, if I just need like to feel uplifted, I love Optimistic by Sounds of Blackness. Like, it's just a song that you put it on and you feel like, as long as you keep your head to the sky, you're like, you're right. I just need to believe. So that would be one. And then Kanye's always good. You can never go wrong with Kanye. But I think it's particular Kanye songs.
Yes, like Power.
Yes. And my all-time is Kendrick Lamar, All Right.
We gonna be all right.
What? We gonna be all right. Yes.
That's a good choice. Yes, I love that song.
Yes, Kendrick, you're right. We gonna be all right. So yes, those would be mine.
Amazing. I love it. And can you leave us with any recommended reads?
In general?
Yeah, like your favorite book, a book that you would just recommend someone just dive into.
So Tasha,
you know what I'm going to say.
I know Tasha has a favorite. Go ahead.
The Alchemist.
I have not read that yet.
It is one of my all-time favorite books. One of the books I've read multiple times. So, yeah, I don't know if it's whether I'm feeling lost or I need to focus. I go back to The Alchemist.
Reading list added.
I have two. So one is called The Founder's Dilemma, and which is really good for entrepreneurs. It just talks about like all the mistakes that founders typically make. So sometimes if you can learn from someone else's mistakes, why not, right? And then The Tipping Point, because it also talks about how it's the little things, the incremental things that eventually create the momentum to tip into greatness. So
good point. Okay. Well, ladies, it has been such a pleasure. I thank you for all of the information. And before we head out, you have to tell the people how can they contact you? How can they support what you have going on and any upcoming projects that you have? I know we mentioned Berkeley Marketing Week, so if you want to more dive into that.
Yeah, definitely. So you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and LinkedIn at THE, B as in boy, CGNYC. Again, that's THE, B as in benchmark, C as in creative, G as in group, NYC. And what we have coming up is we still want to talk a little bit more about Brooklyn Marketing Week. So yes, we have the save the date. It's coming up in October, and we're going to start releasing information about that. But we still want to have fun and engage with you guys. So we're going to have some conversations happening on a monthly basis leading up to Brooklyn Marketing Week. And then we also have the SHEBOSS series coming back.
Yeah. Follow us and you'll get more details on all those beautiful things.
Amazing. Well, ladies, thank you so much. I really appreciate you for taking the time to, cry about the best points and share your story, and also for coming on the show. And we wish you nothing but the best in your journey.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. We love you back, and we can't wait to see all the good things that you have in store for 2018.
Yes.
Love it.
Much
Until
success.
next time.
Yes. Bye.